What's cracking? I've recorded this like 5 times. I hate talking to a camera. This is terrible, but I'm trying my best. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about guitartone. I've had a couple people ask me about it and what I do. As far as guitartone itself, I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't think about it too hard, but I'll kind of run through my thought process and the plugins I use, and you can kind of get an idea. So I have my project open here. I just have a couple of rhythm tracks, and I just recorded this stupid little chug thing, but just so we have something to listen to as I'm running through the plugins. But I'll start with the actual channels themselves. They're both going to be the exact same. But first I have this EQ that just removes some low end, adds a little bit of high stuff, a little bit of clarity and definition, and getting rid of some of the mud in the direct signal before it hits the amp. Just because of my setup, like I have a bare knuckle Ragnarok in the bridge, and it's just pretty low end heavy in general. So I like to take a little bit of it out. I have Mixwave mic stringer. I've used this thing for like 2 years now. I very rarely stray away from it. It just works. I'm using this chunk preset from mic stringer. You can find it in the preset list here. Super sick. Again, just works. At least it works for me. Your guitar and your setup is always going to sound different than mine or anybody else's. So just find something that works for you. So I'll play the direct signals with and without the EQ. So here's without. And then turn it back on. Subtle, but you'll hear it more when the amp is turned on for sure. So now turning the amp on, we get this. And before I go any further, I just want to make a quick point, especially when you're recording stuff that's very like heavy and very palm mute oriented. Don't be afraid to dig into your instrument. Be aggressive with the palm mutes. If you want to express aggression, you have to be aggressive with your playing. There's something to be said about playing lightly and, conserving your energy. And there's a time and place. But making sure you are able to play lightly where it's needed and just absolutely hammer into your strings when it's needed, that's what makes you like a well-rounded player, in my opinion. But anyway, moving on to the bus processing, this is where all the magic happens, really. But first up, we have a boring little EQ. Get rid of some low stuff and some palm muted mud. It's not crazy, but just an EQ, nothing insane. Multi-band compression. I was completely screwing around with this. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just made 5 bands and I messed around with the threshold knob and just found stuff that I liked. I know that this is controlling some of the palm mutes a little bit, and you'll kind of hear that. And then the rest of these were kind of just a taste. That's really all it was. So here we go. Moving on, we have JST Transify, boosting some attack on the mid and treble. I think it brings out a lot of clarity in the guitars when it's at the bus processing stage. Sometimes you can actually put it on the direct signal, kind of like what the EQ in the beginning was doing. I'm pretty sure I saw Buster doing that, and he just cranked the attack. Subtle, but it makes a difference in like a full mix. Next, Sound Toys Decapitator. This thing is a secret weapon and a magic button. I ripped this straight from one of Lance Prince's like mini mix tutorial videos that he has on YouTube. You can go find it. But ever since I saw him do this, I this plugin sits on my bus undisturbed, and I'm never taking it off. But I'm using the E style at like a half mix and just driving it a little bit. You'll hear the difference. What can I say? It just works. And then after that is just some really basic stuff. I have Soothe to control some of the harsh frequencies that come out of Decapitator. And then I have this EQ. This is not specific to what I'm doing right now. It's just sitting here. But this is just here if I want to control anything. You know, maybe the context of the mix is different or something just isn't sitting right. I just have this flexibility to move stuff around, or move it up and down, I should say. And then a little bit of stereo widening, which isn't doing a crazy amount, but just adding some width to the guitars doesn't hurt. So and then I guess I'll do like a quick run through of my master bus, because that does affect the tone, but this is what I mix into for the most part. So some real basic EQ stuff, some high-end boosts, like 100 hertz boost. This controls the gain that goes into the compressor. FG Gray, the Nolly trick. If you look that up, you will find it, I promise. I switch between FG Gray and FG Red a lot. Just they give different styles of compression, so I like to mess around with it. Saturn II Magic Mastering preset. Don't know what it does, just works. Virtual tape machine. I don't think I touched anything in here besides the input. This free Oxford inflator alternative. This thing is super sick. Again, I don't really have like a full mix here, so you might not hear it too much, but check this plugin out. It just makes the whole thing sound more full. I don't know how it does it. And then Flatline 2, just for some clipping and loudness. Real straightforward. And that pretty much sums up my guitar tone as a whole. This process really hasn't changed too much over the last year and a half I've been doing YouTube, or putting my stuff on YouTube anyway. I think there's a couple of other things to highlight too, and that's number one being, it doesn't matter, you know, what amp suite you buy, what plugins you use, how nice your hardware is, how nice your guitar is. Although it does help, it does help. It is not the end all be all for your guitar tone. Your guitar will not sound like mine will not sound like yours. The way that you play guitar and how you sound will always be different to someone else. And of course, make sure you have fresh strings, please. And note that whatever kind of pick you're using is going to change your sound dramatically as well. I use fairly sharp jazz 3s if these would focus, but they're probably not going to. There we go. Anyway, I found what works for me, and I encourage you to just play with knobs, like figure stuff out on your own, like do your research and do the basics, but just have fun with it. Screw around. Make something new, make something cool. I'm out.